This is A.L. Burris Elementary, where I have been the media specialist since 2005.
Okay, hey girls, so you want to...
Hi, I'm Cindy Farr, and this is the story of my Capstone Project, which was originally developed to benefit my school and to fulfill a requirement of Kennesaw State University. Burris is part of the Marietta City Schools District and has a current enrollment of about 500 students. The district provides a strong technology infrastructure, such as wireless connectivity throughout the building, one-to-one computing in 2nd through 5th grades, and a lot of great technology resources. Like these goggles, which our 3rd graders are using to experience virtual habitats. What do you think?
It's awesome!
Technology tools abound in the school and district, yet equitable access became a concern for Principal Julie King and the Student Governance Team, or SGT, made up of Burris parents, teachers, administrators, and community stakeholders.
One of the topics that came up was technology, and we talked about the fact that children didn't know how to keyboard, that they some were familiar with some programs, some were familiar with other programs, and it had to do with their home life, not equity that we can provide here at school. So what we wanted to look at was being able to be more consistent in what all children were afforded, so that when they got ready to use technology, they would use it well to increase their learning.
King says the SGT recommended forming an Instructional Technology Committee to consider developing a scope and sequence of technology skills by grade level.
We need a scope and sequence because we can't just throw it all out there and teachers have to figure it out. Minimal things need to be taught by end of kindergarten, by the end of 1st grade, by the end of 2nd grade. So we decided we would have an Instructional Technology Committee to begin to look at what is it that children need to know at those different levels to be successful.
I volunteered to be on that Instructional Technology Committee and to make writing the scope and sequence the focus of my capstone project for Kennesaw State University. At the time, I was in my 2nd semester of KSU's online specialist degree program in instructional technology. I decided to title my project Technology Skills by Grade Level.
But if you put the star, that's pretty impressive. I'll take that.
My capstone project plan began with talking to teachers like Carla Wallace, who works with gifted students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades, about how a scope and sequence could make a difference. I discovered that the lack of home access to technology wasn't the only reason we needed new guidelines.
Teaching the gifted program, I teach children that come from different homeroom classrooms, some grade levels, as many as 4 different classrooms. And it's a challenge because when they come to me, the amount of technology that they have been exposed to greatly depends upon their teacher's level of education, their motivation, their comfort level with technology. So it would be great if I knew that every 3rd grader coming to me would have these basic technology skills. I really feel like I could build off of that and take the children even further with technology.
Other experienced teachers, like Tabitha Edmondson Goodman, agreed that a scope and sequence was necessary for consistency.
I've noticed that since I work with kindergarten through 2nd grade, with teachers not being aware of like the expectations or the standards with technology, many of our students lack those skills. So when you're ready to push forward with projects and things like that, they don't have the foundation to even build on.
So I began to research school districts that had already implemented technology scope and sequences. Using the examples I found as a guide, I compiled a list of tech skills by grade level and sent it to our teachers to review with their teams and provide feedback on whether the skills were appropriate. I asked them to add anything I left out and to report must-have skills for their grade levels. Then, something unexpected happened.
Okay, and this one, what did we, the technology terminal.
Dr. Jennifer Hernandez, head of the district's Office of Digital Learning, found out about my capstone project from the principal. Dr. Hernandez asked to work with me to develop a plan that could be adopted not just at Burris, but district-wide.
The scope and sequence that was created is going to have a tremendous impact on our district because we're going to have the ability to look and decide and design what students are going to need K through 12. And as they matriculate up from middle to high school, then they'll have the opportunity to really build on the technology skills that are going to be necessary for them to be successful.
The opportunity to work with the district changed my timeline and my evaluation plan. I had planned to implement the scope and sequence at Burris at the start of the 2016-17 school year, and to ask Burris teachers to evaluate the effectiveness of the guidelines 3 months later. Instead, I met several times that fall with district technology coach Susie Troop.
Well, we got together after you had done a lot of groundwork on gathering information on different scopes and sequences used by other school systems. So we looked at several of them and we picked the ones that were the most comprehensive. And we went through them pretty much line by line, looking at the topics and the ISTE standards and seeing where our kids fit in, what they could do, what we thought they could do at each grade level.
Next, it was time to put it all together. So I created a table and typed into it all of the skills at each grade level that we agreed were necessary for our students' success. In January of 2017, I presented the proposed scope and sequence to my fellow media specialists for their feedback. Then I turned over their comments and the document to the Office of Digital Learning. Adoption and regular evaluation of the plan are now in the hands of Marietta City Schools.
As we know, technology is ever-changing, so it is going to be very important that we're staying on the cutting edge to make sure that we're aware of the available technology that our children will need and will be using as they move forward in their schooling and beyond. I see that our review process will bring together various stakeholders at this point.
Dr. Hernandez says those stakeholders would include educators, parents, and students who are usually very enthusiastic about technology in school.
I like it because you get there are always like there's always cool stuff that you can do. There's always cool apps that could be like educational apps, and it's just really fun to interact with technology.
Students and teachers will benefit from having skill-specific technology standards, according to Principal King and others.
So 1, the teachers will exchange information. 2, we'll have the support of the district. Most importantly, when the students move from school to school, they'll be able to grow in that scope and sequence. So I'm excited for it.
We have 8 elementary schools, we have 2 middle schools and a high school, and right now everybody's not on the same page. And we want to know what each child can do at each grade level, what they can be proficient at, and I think that's the most important thing.
When I began this Capstone project, I was overwhelmed at the thought of an assignment that would take months to complete, and that was so broad in scope. Little did I know that it would actually take more than a year. I also had no idea that my project would grow from a scope and sequence for my school to one for the district, but I am grateful because the potential impact on student and teacher growth is so much greater now.
On this day in the year 1973, the last U.S. troops left South Vietnam.
I want to acknowledge the work of the school districts which I referred to and relied on throughout my capstone process. The technology scope and sequences of the Fresno Office of Education, the Long Beach Unified School District, and the Rescue Union School District. I would also like to thank the district educators and the Burris administrators and teachers for their support and encouragement. Together, we can make the greatest difference in the lives of our students.
Cut to the chase, yes.